Hey everybody, it is early Tuesday afternoon and I want to do some work on the waterfall today. I'm just not sure what I want to do. I'm having motivational issues, so I figured I would come down here and start talking about it, and hopefully that'll get me motivated to get out in the yard and look for some more moss and maybe a few rocks and stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do just yet. But one thing I want to address is the water in the tank. I want to do another water change today. I'm going to test for ammonia and nitrite and see how we're coming along with the cycle. I might put some fish in it today. If I do, it'll just be a few guppies from my guppy tank, just to get something in there and swimming around. There is still a little bit of concern about, whether any chemicals or anything are still leaching out of this waterfall. I painted it up with silicone rubber that I softened with a variety of different stuff. Some of my earlier coats I tried different stuff, like turpentine is in there, and most of it is mineral spirits, not mineral oil, but mineral spirits. So unless physics has changed, it should be gone and everything should be fine. I shouldn't have any issue with it, so I'm not too concerned about putting some guppies in there. I don't think there's going to be any problem. I'm more concerned about it not being fully cycled in than I am with any kind of chemicals or anything leaching in there. I am noticing, however, that I'm getting a weird sort of white coloration where the water flows, and it's not anything like the white coloration I talked about before with that other sealant that turned white when it got wet. That's not what I'm talking about. And if you look, of course, as soon as I stick my hand under this bright LED light, all kind of funny stuff's going to happen to the camera lens. But if you look right there, you can see that dark spot. I rubbed a little bit of that whiteness away. It just sort of wipes off. So it's clearly superficial, whatever it is. I have no idea, but you can see wherever the water is in steady contact, even this right here, the water's been running down that, and it's white behind it. Let's see if we can see, it just wipes right off. See how it's dark green right here now? I wiped it off of this little spot. So I don't know what that is. I'm not overly concerned about it, but I am curious about it. Another thing that I've noticed this morning, I was kind of afraid it was going to happen, but this piece of moss up here that's sitting on this piece of wood is on top of it. I've tried to get it tucked back so that it's down into the water, and then, the wick effect, capillary action would draw water up into the hole. Well, you know what? Let's try to zoom in here. If you look right, I'm going to try to point at this, but I don't know how well this is going to work out. If you look right, let's get my finger in the screen somewhere. There we go. Right above my finger, right between the little vine on the left and the leaf on the right, you'll see that moss in there is kind of dark. That is dark because that's moisture. So I must have successfully got the edge of it tucked down far enough that it's touching water. And that is now drawing water up into that whole mass. So a little bit more work on that, maybe even tuck an additional piece of moss, under it that's really hanging down dramatically in the back, and it'll keep all of that wet. The other thing that I'm seriously concerned about is the splashing I'm getting from this. My stick idea worked really well. I did actually see somebody made a comment in my live stream later. I think it was from my live stream. They suggested doing that very thing, so that's must be a commonly used technique in waterfalls and terrariums or stuff. But apparently it's working well enough for me that I'm getting water, still dripping off of this side. So this whole side over here is moist. And I'm actually beginning to have a little more faith that we might be able to get some really, some sustained growth of some mosses and lichens and stuff going on in here. My concern, though, like I was saying, is the splashing that's coming off of this. if you'll look, I might be kind of hard to tell on camera. I mean, you can see the drops of water flying by, but my carpet is all wet out here. I've got a fan over there blowing to try to dry it off. If you look at this, this has got standing water in it. It's been slowly collecting water. I've got standing water in the bottom of this. That's how much water we're getting splashing off of that. So that's not tenable. You know, I can't keep it like that. So what I'm thinking about doing is maybe getting a larger rock or piece of wood or something and really angling it in there so any splashing I do get sort of forces it over this way. That's what sort of distracted me talking about this stick that I had put in there. So that's really all I can think of other than my philodendron here, whatever this is. I'm sure it's in the philodendron family. I'm not 100% sure what it is. But it hangs way down, and it's not really doing anything down there. You can't even see it. I don't think it would look right if I just kind of draped it across the front. So what I think I'm going to do is cut it here. It'll just, you know, it'll grow right back. You won't even notice that I've cut it. But it's got some proto roots right there, some root development, and that can get tucked in up here maybe, have it draped over this side, and just have it grow directly out of the water. I'm also looking forward to the creeping Jenny here. That'll grow pretty quickly, and that'll create more of a sort of curtain. And if I can grow that all the way down to where it's touching down here, that'll alleviate my splashing problem as well. And then the other thing I might do today, I might get in here and try to get this flag iris situated so it's mounted to the tank rather than just sitting on a pile of rocks in there. We might get in and tinker with the rocks. I definitely think I want to change the filter that's in there. You know, I just sort of made a homemade filter, but I want to get in there and make it a little better so it's not so obvious. Maybe I'll paint it or something like that, and you won't see that big white block in there. And, you know, who knows. But I think that I've probably talked enough. We're going to go outside now, not in this video, but I'm going to go outside and see what I can do. And then maybe we'll do a before and after, and this will just Alright, that was about 20 minutes squeezed down into about 2.5. And I'm sorry I don't know how to lay music over one segment of the video. I can only do music over the whole thing or none of it, so you just got a silent 2.5 minutes there. But you did get to see me in action. I thought I'd try something different, and rather than talk about my process, I figured I would show it to you, albeit very quickly. So you probably noticed I was over rooting around in the T-bar tank, and you can see I've got one of the chunks of Anubias right here, and another one of the chunks is underneath where this piece of wood goes over, and that's catching a lot of the splashing. I've noticed a lot less on the floor. We're going to have to give it time and see what it looks like, you know, in the long run. I can already see there's less splashing over there. Obviously you can still see there's some, but it looks like we've reduced it quite a bit. I'll have to spend a little bit of time standing here in front of it to really figure out exactly where the splashing is coming from. I switched the Creeping Jenny around so that the shorter Creeping Jenny, I don't even remember where I moved the other Creeping Jenny. Oh yeah, I do. I put this Creeping Jenny that was up top, I stuffed it back behind this piece of bark, and it's kind of hanging over, and eventually that'll grow down and hang down into the water as well. But I took the Creeping Jenny that was down here, and I put that up here because it's really already very long strands, and I'm hoping that'll help catch and collect a lot of the dripping water. So we can maybe do that a little bit. I don't know how well that's going to work or not. But I tucked some water sprite up in here. I cut my philodendron, and I've got a couple of the pieces I cut here. I got another one tucked up underneath the rock up here. I got the water sprite, the java fern. I put more java fern down here. And then of course I spread the moss that I'd collected from the yard in various places. It's a little difficult to tell because I put this big piece of bark in there, but I've got some of the red bugleweed, I've got some of the Christmas fern, that's what this and this is, and there's all kinds of little stuff growing in all of the moss that I collected up, so who knows what kind of little shoots and sprouts and stuff we're going to see. I've thought about maybe planting some bulbs in there, maybe getting some crocus or some spring tulips or something like that, maybe some daffodils or something like that. So we'll see. You know, it's a possibility. I can still do something. We've got all winter to tinker around with this. At the very least, this is going to be here till next summer. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent installation here in the basement, but it will definitely be something I'm going to have fun with over the winter. Didn't really get to doing anything with the tank itself. That'll be for later today, but I was able to get some stuff done, you know, just by collecting up around the yard. I can't believe how much water moves through this philodendron. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's actually dripping water out the end of it from where I cut it. I've still got that piece of lichen covered or moss covered wood, my little bromelade, whatever that is, and that's the stick I brought back from walking down the stream not too long ago. I collected that stick, and I never really liked it. I was reluctant to even bring it home, and it's just never really fit in anywhere, and it just doesn't feel right to me, so that's not in the tank. Maybe someday it'll be in the tank, but it's certainly not going to be up in this part of it. So that's what I slapped together in 20 minutes. So we'll see what I do next time I get motivated to come down here and tinker around and see what happens. So I'll say again, thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, that way you don't want to miss anything. And of course, as I already mentioned, get the notification bell on, and then that way if I do a live stream, spur of the moment, you won't miss that either. So thanks again. Don't forget, this one is my waterfall tank. I'll see you real soon in the next one.